call out through the fallout, baby. When
Hey everybody, welcome to this tutorial video. In this video I hope to talk about illusion and the way that it works in the world and in poetry. My hopes is that we start to pay a little bit closer attention to illusion in the text that we read so that we can come to a deeper understanding of the significance of those texts. So, the concept of illusion is actually something we frequently encounter in our everyday lives. It encompasses both what is said and what is not said, or what is implied, what lies beneath the text. We also see it constantly in popular culture. Our reading poetry introduction tells us that allusion to other literary works, persons, places, or events enables poets to call up associations and contexts that complicate and enrich their poems. Whether these allusions are obvious or subtle, they draw on knowledge shared by both the poet and the reader. This means that we need to look at poetry from a variety of lenses, our own, the author's, and the author's contemporaries, who they may have been writing to at the time. How a reader interacts with a reference or allusion depends on what level of familiarity with the reference they bring to the reading, they being the readers. This means that there are potentially as many shades of meaning in a text as there are readers who encounter it. It also means that familiarizing ourselves with references and allusions by looking them up will benefit our readings of a text. As an example of the way that allusion can work to color the significance or impact of a text, I'm going to discuss an allusion that I chose to include in our syllabus for this class. You might remember seeing the cartoon character Pip-Boy from the video game series Fallout. I connected this allusion to a section in our syllabus that discussed important tips and habits of mine for being successful in this class and in college in general. This might have seemed like an odd choice at the time, but perhaps closer examination of the ideas connected to this allusion as they relate to the overall design of the syllabus and the learning philosophy it communicates should help us understand this rhetorical choice more clearly. On the surface, even those who are unfamiliar with this allusion should be able to get some sense of what it helps to contribute to the overall tone of the syllabus. It was designed to communicate or to express a learning environment that should be fun, friendly, encouraging, and playful. This connects to an earlier moment in the syllabus which talked about the way that play can be important for learning. Those who are familiar with this allusion might get a deeper sense or understanding of its inclusion in this text. Let's take a quick look at how this character is used in the video game.
Following total atomic annihilation, the rebuilding of this great nation of ours may fall to you. That's why we at Vault-Tec have prepared these educational materials for you to better understand the 7 defining attributes that make you special. Today we will focus on strength. In the wasteland, essential supplies will be scarce. When an item of value is found, keep it close and away from bullies. The stronger you are, the more you can carry. Be sure to know your limits, or you may find it challenging to escape from hazardous scenarios, no matter how strong you are. There are other situations where you may find yourself in close proximity to unfriendly neighbors. For such cases, you must learn to defend yourself using your natural strength. Use anything sharp or sturdy enough to swing. Get creative with your implement, but stay reasonable and look for anything that can further enhance your innate vigor. The greater your strength, the greater the impact. But remember, some moments require more than muscle.
We now know that this allusion refers to a video game, again, connecting the ideas between learning and play that were further emphasized with the inclusion of an Easter egg reference to Warren Robinett. This character is also connected with tutorials that offer assistance to those hoping to sharpen their skills in the wasteland, much like this section of the syllabus. This allusion makes a connection to the idea of survival in a dire situation. Its campy 1950s style animation and narration provides a fun point of contrast with the gritty realism of the gameplay's graphics and content. It also connects to the idea of stories and how we interact with them. Since this is a version of story where the reader is actually playing the story, this allusion connects to another key concept of this course, seeing reading and writing as active processes that engage us in dynamic conversations. So, taking a moment to get a better sense of an author's choice to include specific allusion should help us understand the tone of a text. This understanding can then color or inform our reading of other elements of a text. But besides how it contributes to the tone of the text, there might be even more embedded in this allusion. Let's click on the hidden hyperlink attached to the Pip-Boy character in our syllabus.
Hey everyone, Jared here, and today we're talking about the black hole that devoured weeks of my life, Fallout 4. Like many of its predecessors, Fallout 4 follows a vault dweller bravely traversing the post-apocalyptic wasteland. Unlike Fallout 3, which features a vault dweller in search of his father, Fallout 4 chronicles a weird inverted Oedipal scenario where you kill your son and destroy his legacy. All Fallout games feature super mutants, deathclaws, and feral ghouls menacing the human race. But in Fallout 4, there's a new danger: synthetic humans. And while the perils of the wasteland still pose an existential threat to humankind, Fallout 4 introduces a new, purely philosophical threat. That is, what does it mean to be human? Through the synths, the game makes us question everything we know about our very humanity. Welcome to this Wisecrack edition on the philosophy of Fallout 4.
I encourage you to watch the rest of that video, as it is a really cool example of how literary criticism works in the real world, shaping the ways that consumers of text and art interact and interpret it. The critic's commentary is also grounded in the theoretical work of one of my favorite critical theorists, Donna Haraway. But in terms of allusion, we can see that including the Pip-Boy character and the embedded link was meant to further develop the thematic significance of this text, this syllabus. It can be read as an allusion to the blurring of the borders between popular culture and critical theory and criticism, or what some might deem low and high culture. So, allusion can play a big part in how we read a text. In this example, we see how it can affect the reading of a text's tone and overall thematic significance. Allusion is also a lot of fun. Here is an allusion to Edgar Allan Poe's Gothic story, The Cask of Amontillado. This Easter egg in Fallout 4 might have been included by the game developers or authors of that text in order to accentuate the creepy, scary elements of the game. Also, when I was working on this tutorial at Lestat's, this is what the barista Joseph was wearing when he made my green tea. So, let's quickly finish up with a reading of allusion in one of our poems, William Blake's The Lamb. The speaker of the poem speaks lovingly of the lamb and links his own innocence with the innocence of these cute little animals. The speaker also celebrates the fact that they were both created by a seemingly loving creator who would not let anything bad happen to either of them. But understanding the biblical reference provides the hinge upon which interpreting this poem might swing. In the Christianity that would be in the forefront of all Blake's contemporary readers, the lamb will unsubtly connect to the idea of the Lamb of God, often a reference to Jesus Christ, but also more generally to ritual sacrifice for the benefit of the community. Hence the term sacrificial lamb. Although the speaker of the poem doesn't realize his fate, the allusion to Jesus, who was too made by the Creator, might suggest the inevitable sacrificing of the child for the greater good. Seeing how children were treated during this time of industrial revolution in Blake's poem, The Chimney Sweep, should tell the reader that, although the speaker in this poem doesn't recognize it, the author anticipates a darker end to this speaker's story. This is just my reading of how this allusion affects the overall significance of the poem. Take a moment to think about how it alters your impression of the poem. Okay, thanks for watching this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it and it helped you build on your understanding of the way that literary allusion works in the world and in poetry.